Hi, I'm so very happy to introduce to you our embroidered block of the month for 2020, Moroccan Sunset. So behind me, this is just 1/4 of the quilt. We're calling this section A. You'll stitch 2 section A's, a section B, and a section C. So our first block is block 1, which happens to be up here. So we're going to do block 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So let's get started with block 1. To stitch block 1 of our main quilt, you will need, this is the block 1, you will need to hoop some battleizer, which I've got here. You will need a piece of your background fabric A. This will be the front of the block. If you're doing our optional back, this is your backing fabric C. You will need a piece of wool if you're doing our optional wool. And my edges are all sealed with the iron. They're all prepared, ready to go. You will need a thread A. You will need a thread B. You will need a thread C along with a bobbin. You'll need a standard embroidery thread bobbin, and you'll also need our wash away thread. So let's get started in stitching our block 1. So I've got my battleizer in the hoop. I have a regular embroidery bobbin thread in my bobbin, and I have water soluble thread in the needle. And the first thing I need to do is pull up my design, which I forgot to do when I started. And we're doing block 1. There we go. And the first step is the placement stitch. So we'll go ahead and stitch that. A little hard to see because the stitching is white on white, but hopefully you can see a little bit here. Next, I'm going to place my prepared wool inside the placement stitch, and this is an optional step, and the next step will be to stitch it down. So step 3 is to take my background fabric A and place it right side up, centering it over the wool or the placement stitch if you didn't use the wool. Now when the wool's there, I can feel that it's centered. If the wool isn't there, you can peel your front fabric back and just kind of make sure it's centered over your placement stitch. And your only job is to make sure your fabric lays nice and smooth. So now we're ready for step 4, and I'm going to put thread B in the needle, and the machine is going to stitch a little circle right here in the corner. All threaded with thread B, so let's go ahead and stitch step number 4. Step 5 is next, and we've put thread C in the needle, and we're going to stitch inside the little circle. Step 6 is next, and we're going to use thread A in the needle only and stitch a pretty flower around the circle. Next step is to go ahead and place the back, and the back for this particular block is our fabric 2. So we'll place it over the stitching, centering the fabric right over the stitching. So you can just kind of turn it back and check for your placement. Smooth it out. If you'd like to use a little bit of basting spray to hold it on, you can. I hoop my battleizer with the rough side to the back so it grabs it for me. So now I'm going to go ahead and put it back on the machine, and I will use water-soluble thread to stitch my back on. So I've got my block back on the machine with my block back underneath my block, water-soluble thread in the needle. I'm going to pull my bobbin thread up to the top, and at this point I'm going to turn my thread cutter off now that the back is on. So I'll go ahead and do that real quick. So now we'll have a tidier looking back. So now with the water-soluble thread, we'll just let the machine stitch the back of the block on. So my back is on, and we're ready for the last step, which is step 8, the quilting step. And I have gone ahead and put in my my thread C in the bobbin and also in the needle. And again, my automatic thread cutter is off. And the first thing you're going to want to do is bring up your bobbin thread. This way you'll have a nice, neat back. So bring that up and go ahead and start quilting. just going to cut my beginning threads here and let it finish. So there's our block 1. We're ready to go ahead and take it to the cutting table and trim it up. So now we are ready to trim block 1. So we're going to use the trimmer by George, pulling back the front part of the block and using the metal edge to shimmy up to the basting line. Turn it down flat, and with a 60mm rotary cutter, we will cut off the battleizer and the backing from all 4 sides. One more side left. And so now the battleizer and the backing is removed from the back of the block. So now in the front of the block, we'll turn the trimmer over and we'll put the basting line right on the 1/4 inch mark of the trimmer, and we'll trim each side to a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So there's block 1.